Hello, everybody. Shauna Carpellis here with CA Bar Style. I hope you are doing well. I wanted to take a few minutes and go over a question that I am getting a lot lately, and that is how is the format of the September 2020 exam going to look like? And what is CA Bar Style going to be doing to ensure that applicants are ready with this online format? I first want to start off by saying that I know a lot of repeaters out there are very worried about taking this September exam and first time takers as well. We saw a very low passage rate last bar, which was extremely intimidating for a lot of applicants. The Feb 2020 exam had a very low passage rate, unprecedented, and especially with everything going on in the social climate and the economic climate, it can be extremely hard to focus and study. So it is going to be my team and I's number one goal to make sure that applicants try and keep their head on straight, they stay motivated, because we don't really know when the old format is coming back, and meaning when we're going to be able to have a live in a setting type of exam. So we got to be ready right now for a remote exam for potentially the next at least 1 to 2 bars. So what is that going to look like? Well, the California State Bar has put out some instruction on the September 2020 format. They said, obviously, it's a Wednesday and Thursday this time, not a Tuesday, Wednesday, which is usually what it is. Applicants have to be ready no later than 8:20 a.m. They have to be online no later than 8:30 a.m. It will begin immediately. The exam will begin immediately following the instructions. So what will this look like? Well, I'm sure a lot of you have been on Zoom lately. You're likely going to have a proctor in that type of setting. It may not be Zoom. It'll be some other application and software. And you'll have to log in. You'll have the login prior. You'll likely see a proctor there. How many people will be taking the exam with you? I do not know. I'm assuming probably small groups so that the proctor can monitor everybody taking the exam. Whether or not they're going to let you print the exam, we really don't know. I think that they're probably assessing that right now. Right now, we're at June 3rd, 2020. So we have some ways to go depending on when you're watching this. The news could definitely be changed by then. But if we're going to go off of the June baby bar coming up, they are not giving any instruction allowing baby bar applicants to print their essays or multiple choice. So we have to assume that they're not telling applicants right now to make sure they have a printer, that probably you may not be able to print, which I know is very frustrating for a lot of applicants. A lot of applicants already have been voicing that concern to me, because how are they're worried about doing a one screen exam where they don't have paper. I mean, even scratch paper on the baby bar, the instruction there is that it's going to be on the computer. So you're going to have to get really comfortable with being able to see somewhat of a split screen, I'm assuming, whereby you have the essay on one side and your blank document on another, and you're typing out your answer as you go. Some people actually may really benefit from that format because you don't have to look down and you just basically are looking at the facts right there while you type for your analytical portion. What will be harder is the issue spotting, because a lot of applicants do like to issue spot on paper, and they're used to doing that with law school and prior bar exams if you are a repeater. So that's going to be something that we really have to develop a skill with. And here at CA Bar Style, we will be making sure that applicants get an abundance of online simulated test taking so that that format is ready to go. So you will not be able to do it if you haven't done it already. And I would suggest, whether you're in my course or not, that you do an abundance of writing where you have the essay, and you can do a split screen on Word, where you can see the essay or a performance test or multiple choice, and you can fill in the answer on the other side. So that's something we're going to be practicing a lot. I'm going to go to the baby bar instructions because I think that a lot of the instructions on the general bar are going to look the same. It says that the exam is going to be administered on the baby bar it's 4 essays, but in the morning for the general bar you have 3 essays. And the interesting thing is they're giving a 15-minute break between each essay. I'm not really sure what the goal of that is. Maybe to upload each individual essay, we'll know more. But you can anticipate potentially a 15-minute break between each 1 hour essay as opposed to just writing the 3 essays on the Wednesday morning, September 9th, in a row. And when they do the multiple choice, they're saying a 15-minute break in between sessions other than an hour break, which I don't know if on the baby bar actually they even get that hour break. So it looks like the break time is definitely a factor that is going to be different. You may not get a full hour in between the morning and afternoon, and you definitely may not get, pursuant to baby bar instructions, you may not get this fluid flow of exams. So that has to be factored into the preparation as well. And as soon as we know more about the general bar and what the break time will be there, we'll make sure to factor that into our simulated exams as well. You're going to have to do a lot of logging in and verifying identification. And it says you have to be alone in the room. That's no shocker. No other person or animal. So all you dog lovers, get your pets in another room, or someone's got to come take them. So there's no distractions there. And this is very stressful, if your internet connection disconnects or malfunctions for any reason, you will not be allowed to re-enter the session. There's a lot of stress with this new format for sure. You got to make sure you have a very, very strong internet connection and a good laptop to work off of. You got to make sure you have a very quiet space. They're not going to want to see. I believe in the next form of instructions, they even go as far as to say that they don't even want you having, here we go, cell phones, electronic devices, no other music plugs, says watches or clocks in the exam room. I believe somewhere it said about you can't have scratch paper, you can't have any other books, can't have food, beverages. So real test time settings. That's not any test-like settings. That's not any different. You cannot have radios. Here we go. Stereos, devices. So they basically want you to take everything out of your room and be in like a blank room with nothing in there. And I would definitely recommend that you study in that type of an environment. And that's wherever you study is where you should eventually take the test. That would be the ideal situation. So just to reiterate a little bit, it's going to be a very different format than taking it in person in terms of break time, start time, login, the format of not having paper in front of you and potentially not being able to print. I hope that they do. I really do. But the problem is, how do they know? The issue that they're probably battling with is, how are they going to know what's authentic in terms of what you're printing? Is it an outline? I really think most people will not cheat. But, maybe somebody that just needs a little help, hopefully they will print something or have something out. How are they going to make sure when you're looking down it's not there? So they're going to want to make sure that your face is really looking at that computer. And there even is an instruction in here as well that says that basically violations of any of these instructions may result in sanctions, but are not necessarily limited to a 0 for the flagged exam session. So the proctor can flag you, and then it goes on, and a negative impact on the applicant's moral character determination. I mean, can they give us a little bit of a break? Like, this isn't stressful enough that now we have to move to this online format. Give bar applicants a little bit more credit, that they will be genuine and honest. And knowing my applicants and thousands of them over the years, most of them are pretty honest people, okay? So, but I get it. They have to make sure that the exam is safe and that they don't have cheating going on. They really want to try and scare you a little bit. So maybe try and ignore that static and just make sure you're really well prepared. There also is an instruction here for handwriters and those that have accommodation requests granted, whereby you can petition them in those scenarios, handwriters and accommodation applicants, to take the exam in person. So they will be accommodating that, it looks like, or they will postpone you to another exam if they feel like you can't take it in person. So a lot of change here, a lot of different factors. Like I said before, the main thing are the break times. Of course, having a proctor watch you is going to be pretty intense. But remember something, proctors are watching you in person too. When I took the exam, they were right there looking at me. They can be intimidating if you let them be, but we're just going to do the exam and make sure that we're ready in this new format. I think that is the key here, okay? So I hope I've given you some clarity on what to expect. You're going to have to log in. You're going to take the exam, likely just one screen, not being able to print anything. You may have breaks in between each section, each individual essay. The essays in between the performance test and not just run through like the baby bar. I don't know if they'll keep that format, and I'm not really sure what it's for. Probably just to have you upload it, have time to upload it individually. You're going to have a proctor that can flag you. So make sure that you stare at the screen as much as possible. You're not looking around. Your room should be rather empty, not have any distractions, not have any animals or kids come in. So you really want to be able to have an empty house if that's possible. I know so many people can't do that. So it is a high burden and expectation. You want to make sure you have a strong internet connection and a good, reliable computer, because unlike in person, if your computer crashes, you can't raise your hand and get blue books. I actually think that's probably the most messed up thing, whereby you can't do that, but just how could they track it? How could they know that you're not writing it after the test, which I think most people would not do, but it's just no way. So if your computer crashes, you're done with the exam, which I think is definitely stressful. But remember something, if you have a strong internet connection, I've been talking now for 12 minutes, if you're still with me, your computer won't crash, your internet won't go down, and you're going to be okay. So you just got to make sure that you prepare well and that you have this format down. And that is the responsibility of your course, of your tutor. Your timing is going to be crucial, and your ability to type and look at a screen at the same time is going to be pretty crucial. I feel like my 11-year-old son's generation is going to have that down. But for people like me, I'm almost 40 years old, so I'm used to paper, everything paper, I like writing it out. So for me, that would be a new skill set that I would have to develop to be able to take a test online without having paper in front of me. And I think we're going to have to be ready for it. But if other people can do it, you can do it as well. And so don't let it deter you from your goal of taking the California bar exam. We have a lot of time to study right now. I hope that answered some of your questions. I know there are a lot of people right now going through so much, and please know I'm here for you, and I will guide you, and we will do this like we always do with whatever they keep throwing at us. I wish you well, be safe, and take care.